Alright, so let's now go over the balance changes for Akuma in Street Fighter 6. Actually, Akuma was typically considered one of the strongest characters in the game. A lot of people would consider him even the best. So it's interesting to see how Capcom changed him, and spoiler alert, most of it are gonna be kinda nerfs, but I still think he's gonna be terrific. So for starters, they nerfed his crouching medium punch. This now, as you can see, has a 16 frames recovery instead of 14, and expanded the hurt box so that it's a little bit easier to whiff punish. Again, are you gonna whiff punish it every time? Absolutely not, but it helps. This move is ridiculous, especially since it combos into itself, gives Akuma a ton of damage, he gets a ton of utility out of it. They said they have reduced the pushback on hit, so it should be more consistent in combos, which is kind of wild to me because it was already great, but yeah, that got buffed. His crouching light kick, the cancel happens 1 frame earlier, so when rapid fired into, so it should be a little bit better as a rapid fire move. That's kind of nice. Next one is a major one. They nerfed his sweep. Now Akuma's sweep is nerfed when it hits an airborne opponent. There is 5 frames more recovery. So one of the things you do with Akuma as a combo ender is you would combo like into light Tatsu and then sweep. Double dash and you get Oki. Now take a look at this. Akuma is actually negative. He doesn't get meterless dash Oki anymore. Akuma actually have to go for like drive rush Oki here to get some pressure going, which that's kind of crazy. Like, I genuinely am very, very surprised that they went for something like this for him. Because this has been stable, right? Every Akuma player is doing this. Remember, prior they nerfed like Demon Flip so that if you go over them, it is negative. But now, just regular sweep into dash Oki, that doesn't work. You gotta drive rush Akuma boy. Interesting. Ragu, high kicks, and Hadouken. I'm gonna bundle them together. This is the back heavy kick. This now have less pushback, but typically you would do this with Hadouken, right? A lot of Akuma players would do that as a way to like shake you if you're trying to jump on wake up. Because if you are trying to jump, like let's say that you are trying to jump away. Right, you'll get hit, you'll get the combos, you know what it is, right? But now this have reduced pushback, and the fireballs have reduced pushback as well. So it's gonna leave you in a -4 in a range where some characters will be able to punish it. Obviously that is a light Hadouken, medium one, and heavy one are gonna be even more unsafe. So interesting change. But typically I think with this sort of like bait, like as Oki bait, typically you were going for you typically were going for like the light version anyway, because that's the one that gonna give you like the drive rush combo. So it's not massive. I still think the pushback is enough for most 4-frame lights to be out of reach, but maybe some kind of, maybe like Zangief or like some very specific characters will be able to get it. That to me is interesting. They nerfed his forward heavy punch, where now this have extended hurt box on whiff, right? So when you happen to whiff it, it's gonna be easier to whiff punish it. There's a little bit like of a phantom hitbox here, so that is actually kind of cool. And they kind of buffed it as well, where he's getting like more drive and made sure that it is have less pushback on block. So when you're drive rushing into it, it should leave you closer to the opponent. Obviously this is plus, right? +1 now leaves you in throw range. It's kind of a nerf and a buff, but yeah, it's alright. Hadoukens, level 2 Hadoukens, when you happen to throw them out, the opponent happen to parry, they are getting more drive gauge, and I think that's fair. Typically people will see Akuma, they hold it a little bit early, so they're getting a little bit more drive gauge back. I think that's fine. This next one is kind of big actually. They changed the aerial Hadoukens, where now this will have more scaling. So the first hit 100%, I land, and the second hit is immediately at 60. I think air Hadoukens are insane in this game anyways, as the fact that they are almost like completely safe regardless of height. Like even like the worst air Hadoukens, like that one is still -2. Come on guys, what you're doing? So that seems like a fair trade to me. I think that's fair. Now, speaking of scaling as well, I will just get the second one over with. The Demon Flip into kick happens all the time. The hitbox on that is still ridiculous. This also is gonna be scaled, as you saw. The second hit is at 70% already, so Akuma is gonna be getting less damage out of these combos, right? I think that's totally fair, all things considered, given the fact that these moves have a ton of utility, and given how good Akuma is in general. I think that's good. One weird change to Akuma that kind of puzzles me is the change to his ODDP. They made it so that the third hit doesn't hit grounded. Now it still does 1700 damage, the juggles are pretty much still the same, but this change is very targeted. It's pretty much to deal with drive impact, because the third hit will now not connect. So his uppercut will not break armor, it's not gonna break the drive impact, and as you saw I was minus 18, so I'm gonna get punished. So kind of weird, and I don't know, kind of unnecessary change, to be honest, because this is gonna let like degenerate strategies, like say someone doing this and it's not like a legit string. See, like you're gonna end up being punished, so that's kind of weird. Prior he would actually break impact, but this kind of puts him in line with the rest of the roster as well, so yeah, I mean, that's cool. Finally, Akuma had a change that is kind of interesting. His Demon Raid, the OD Demon Raid, can be cancelled into his Air Super. And this can be used in some combos, but we're gonna have to wait and see like what exactly you can do with that, right? I'm gonna have to wait for the Akuma Masters. I'm doing character changes for so many characters. Didn't get to look into what combos you can get with that, but seems like fun. Seems like probably you can get something out of it. The final meaningful change to Akuma is with his heavy adamant flame, where they made it now -3 on block instead of -2. It's still safe, but it should be a little bit less oppressive in burnout, where now it's only -1 or only +1, but still this is terrific. And as you know, like if you happen to get the punish counter or the counter hit, this leads to massive combos. So the move is still gonna be ridiculous anyways. And as an aerial fireball, they improved the hitbox so that you have easier time comboing into it. All things considered, when you take a look at what happened to Ken, when you take a look at what happened to some other characters, did Akuma get hit? He did, because this is terrific. This is still a fantastic. Seeing what happened to Bison and seeing this completely intact is kind of nuts. His fireballs are still amazing, still got insane frame data. His complete BS elements like the air fireball and the demon raid being scaled, that is a nerf, but this is Street Fighter 6. Remember, like at the end of the day, mid-screen damage doesn't matter. What matters is getting the corner and getting the throw loop, and his throw loop is intact and still one of the best throw loops in the game. His damage overall from like the big openings, like the heavy bunch and whatever, and like the heavy adamant flame and what you can get, all of that is still intact, so it's still fine. Akuma's still gonna be one of the best characters in the game. Easy. Bam.